Here we have a SAT math question. Okay, let's go the information. The function f of x equals to 1 over 9 times x negative 7 the whole square positive 3 gives a metal ball height above the ground f of x in inches x seconds after it started moving on a track where 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 10. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the vertex of the graph of y equals to f of x in the xy plane? Okay, so here this f of x or y, whatever it is, because y and f of x are equal. So f of x or y gives a metal ball's height above the ground, and x represents x over here represents the time. So after it started moving on a track. According to the question, we have to interpret the vertex of the graph of the given quadratic function. Okay, for that, let me consider the vertex form of a quadratic function, that is f of x equals to a times x negative h whole square positive k. Okay, so in this quadratic function, h comma k, so h is nothing but the value which is subtracted from x, and k is nothing but the value which is added over here. This h comma k represents the vertex of the parabola given by this quadratic function. And now let's consider the value of the constant a. So if the value of the constant a is greater than 0, that is positive, then the parabola will open up. If a is less than 0, the parabola opens down. Let me write over here. So when a is greater than 0, the parabola opens up. So if a is less than 0, that is negative, then the parabola opens down. Okay, now let me consider the quadratic function we have in our problem, that is f of x equals to 1 over 9 times x negative 7 the whole square positive 3. So what is the vertex of the parabola? For that, let's compare this and this. At the place of h, we have 7, that is 7 is subtracted from x. At the place of k, we have 3 over here. So then the vertex h comma k equals to 7 comma 3. And also, what's the value of a? So compare the value, comparing the values of a over here. That is at the place of a, we have 1 over 9. That is a equals to 1 over 9. So this 1 over 9 is a positive value which is greater than 0. So then if I sketch the parabola for the given quadratic function, it will open up because the value of a is a positive, and the vertex of the parabola is 7 comma 3. Okay, now let's consider the vertex over here, this 7 comma 3. So whenever a parabola opens up, the vertex is the minimum point of the parabola. So that is here x coordinate is 7 and y coordinate, or the value of f of x is 3. So that means x coordinate is 7 and f of x is equal to 3. That is when x equals to 7, the value of f of x is 3. Already we know that f of x represents the metal ball's height, and x represents the time in seconds after it starts moving on a track. That is, when x is equal to 7 seconds, when the time is 7 seconds, the metal ball's height is 3 inches. And since this is a minimum point, and this 3 represents the minimum height of the metal ball. Okay, now let's go over the options one by one. So the metal's ball minimum height was 3 inches above the ground. So clearly option A is correct, because as I said, so vertex is the minimum point of a parabola which opens up. So here the y coordinate is represents, the y coordinate gives the metal ball's height above the ground. So this is the minimum height, this 3. So the question option A says the metal ball's minimum height was 3 inches above the ground. Anyways, option A is correct. Anyways, let's go with option B. The metal ball's minimum height was 7 inches above the ground. It's wrong, because the 7 over here represents a time in seconds. So option B is correct. And now let's go to option C. The metal ball's height was 3 inches above the ground when it started moving. So it does not say, option C does not say about the minimum height. It says general height. So this is also incorrect, because we know that 3 is the minimum height of the metal ball. And we can reject option C, and let's go to option D. The metal ball's height was 7 inches above the ground. It's completely wrong. So because 7 represents the time. Usually when we solve this kind of problems, we'll be getting a parabola which opens down. So we'll draw a horizontal line which represents the ground level. So the ball will start moving from a particular point on the ground. It reaches the maximum height and it comes back to the ground, and it hits at some point over the ground. So the vertex of the parabola will give the maximum height of the ball. But this question is a little different, because the track of the metal ball is the parabola which opens up. So that's why we get minimum height 3 for this metal ball.